All right, yeah. Hi everyone, I'm Ruben. Yeah, I used to be a UCF Knight, or I guess I'm still a UCF Knight since I graduated from there. Yeah, and this is my I put trajectory here, but yeah, journey is probably a better word. But yeah. So who am I? So yeah, I used to be a basketball player back in Ecuador. So I'm from Machala, Ecuador, and yeah, I'm the little guy here. I'm not little. There, these people are just tall. Uh, but yeah, this is me. This is where I'm from, and I also went to military high school back in Ecuador, which maybe explains a lot of my behaviors. But yeah, so I went to military high school, and yeah, so then my goal was to be a basketball player. And I had very big ambitions, but something happened along the way. So I ruptured my Achilles tendon, first my left one, and then later on my right one when I was trying to come back. Which so this led to me not being able to play at a high level anymore because I mean I'm not short, but I'm not really tall. So I need to be fast and be able to jump high and so on. So that ruined it for me. So after that, yeah, I needed to figure out what to do because yeah, I didn't want to let this stop me on just doing something. So one thing that I learned from basketball is that hard work pays off. So when I was a basketball player, I at first I was really bad, and I worked extremely hard sometimes in a very obsessive way to improve. And then this hard work actually paid off to the point where, yeah. So as you saw in the previous images, I made my country's basketball team. I won championships there, but I was really bad at first, and then just really, really, really hard work and almost, yeah, maybe not healthy hard work. It helped. So yeah, and so this is something that I've been carrying throughout this my entire time. Uh, and So yeah, so first I started during the Achilles tendon rupture. I was actually training to try to be to try out for Miami-Dade College actually. But yeah, as you know what happened. But so during my time at community college, after this happened, I was determined to make the best out of this because I had nothing else left. Because I worked hard to be a basketball player, that didn't happen. So basically, I had no objective in life. So I had tried to just do the best of whatever I had in front of me. And I just tried to get the best grades possible while I was in Miami-Dade College to see if I could do something on the academic route. Um, yeah, and so I had programming classes there where I got it was really fun actually, and this actually started to kind of make me want to do computer science stuff. So after this, I transferred to UCF back in 2011, and the main reason was that I was looking because I couldn't do anything on the basketball side. I was just try to do the best I can on the academic side. I saw that UCF had the best programming team in the I guess sometimes in one of the best in the nation, and then also the best in Florida back then at least. I don't know how it is now, but I'm sure it's probably still the best. But so I decided I'm going to transfer to UCF, and also I had cousins that were going to UCF, so it helped me a lot because since I when I moved from Miami to Orlando, I had nowhere to live, so I lived in their apartment, basically just sleeping in their floor because also I was not financially in a good position. So yeah, the first semester was very difficult because it was an adjustment period and I didn't get the grades that I wanted. But then the next semester, I worked extremely hard and then I got a 4.0, taking 4 courses. I think it was like half computer science and half something else, or all computer science. I don't remember. And then I celebrated during my drive back to Miami because even though I tried really hard, I didn't know if it was going to happen. But it's still better to try that to not try, and it paid off. So I celebrated during my ride back to Miami, and yeah. So then, actually, when I started more looking into the academic route, I started finding out about research. I mean, I didn't know what research was until later on, but I started contacting many professors. I wanted to be a hacker, so I looked into a lot of computer security professors, and I contacted many professors, and nobody replied. And also applied to many scholarships. All of them were rejected, which was not very encouraging, even with my good grades from community college. But then the status program showed up in my email, and then I applied. And actually, this is the only scholarship that I got, at least when I first transferred to UCF. Yeah, Dr. Shah, Dr. Lobo, Dr. Moore, they were the only ones that gave me a chance. So during my entire time in the status program, I was very grateful, and I just did my best to make sure that this opportunity didn't go to waste, because I'm not this is not something that I'm supposed to get. It's something that I'm given the opportunity to grow. So yeah, so I'm very thankful for them. And I remember during my interview, I think Dr. Lobo or Dr. Moore, I forgot who, gave me an integral to solve, and I actually solved it with the wrong sign, but they looked past that. So yeah, thanks. Yeah, so this was a starting basically point, because this Dr. Shah and just let me start looking into his lab. I was there as many times as I could, just to try to see what I can do to learn to do research, and to potentially push my career as far as I can. Yeah, and it was a fun time. Then the next semester, if I recall correctly, yeah, it was 2012. There was the NSF RU, and yeah, so my GPA was not stellar as many of the people in the cohort. They were all 4.0s, I think, or if not most of them 4.0s. So I found out that this may be a deal breaker for me. So I went directly to Dr. Shah's office and asked him personally to please let me in the program, that I would not that I would not let him down if he let me. But actually, during this RU, at first I failed doing research really bad. I think I did probably the worst out of everybody. Maybe I've just been too critical of myself, but I felt like I was doing worse than everybody else. So I had to pivot midway the program to do something with post estimation. But the funny enough, so I failed because I was trying to do deep learning, and I didn't understand anything about deep learning. And funny enough, the paper that I felt fully.
So we are missing your audio, Ruben. So is that problem from your side, or? We need your help. So speaker. So where do you? Speaker or something.
Oh, nope, that's not what I wanted.
This is the audio, right? And the audio. Yeah. This is the home.
Yeah.
Is there? Yeah, this is increasing, but it's not decreasing.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So,
maybe
but then all of a sudden, what happened? Or did this come back or something? Let's try again. Okay, talk again, Ruben. No, we cannot hear you. That's bad.
Yeah, this right speaker is selected and he's not muted. Ruben, maybe try choosing a different.
Audio cannot hear you.
Oh, he's connecting again. Maybe it was just a poor connection that dropped it.
So can you talk again, Ruben?
Yes. Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, we can hear you. Maybe
okay.
your side, I think. Yeah, share.
Yeah,
it
yeah.
Again. Share it again.
Yeah. Wait, where was I? I forgot.
Just go through the slides and you are you slide? Are you
Muted again?
You are muted yourself now. Can you unmute yourself? Oh, okay. Yeah, that's crazy. Okay, now how about now? Can you talk
That
now?
works. Yeah, that works.
Okay,
Yes.
good.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
So as I was saying, my GPA was not stellar because everybody else probably had a 4.0, but I went to Dr. Shah's office to ask him to let me in the program, that I would not let him down. And I was saying that at the beginning of the program, I failed at doing research in deep learning. So I had to pivot midway to post estimation. Uh, and the funny enough thing is that the paper that I failed to understand and actually do research around was my future advisor's work, Convolutional Deep Belief Networks by Honlag Lee, which is funny, but I didn't know I was his student until later on. But yeah, it was a great experience, but I also had another wake up call to work even harder to do better. Um, yeah, and then at the end of it, the RU went well. And once I started pivoting, this title is different, but yeah, so I pivoted to the post estimation, and then Amir was my mentor, and yeah, it went well. We had some results, had a poster, and then we had the party here back a long time ago when I was skinnier. But yeah, and yeah, so from that, it's a bunch of things started happening. So first, I got lucky that I applied to this Google scholarship, and somehow I got it. Um, I was very surprised again because I'm hoping for the best, but expecting the worst. But so I got this scholarship. I got to go to New York, to the New York office, and it was great. Yeah, but it was another validation. This is not just happened just out of nowhere. It was all the crazy hard work, which is not cannot be reflected in this life. But I really, really, never put fun before work. So again, that's just how I approach things. The only time that I would do something fun is when I finish my work and there's nothing else that I can do. So if I had a homework, I stay until to the homework until 11:58, making sure that everything is perfect. If I have a test, I stay until the end of the test, redoing the test 2 or 3 times to make sure everything is perfect because I can't fail. Failure is not an option. But anyway, so that resulted into this. So then another thing that happened from this was the University of Michigan contacted me because of the research and my grades and so on. And then I was invited to the University of Michigan SROP, or SROP as they call it, and where I got to do research with who would be my future PhD advisor, Honglak Lee. This was also a great experience. Again, same hard work, just to do the best because and it was fun. I went saw the big house here on the right, and all this. This isn't the Rackham building. And that was summer 2013. Then after I came back, I was lucky to have my first CVPR paper, and this is a paper that I recently found out that somebody has used to find their father. So it was actually used, not just a research paper, where Amir and Enrique were my mentors, and we managed to get a CVPR paper before I graduated. I'm not here because I was actually interviewing. I was at the University of Michigan doing some interview stuff. Another thing that lucky, I guess, is that for this SROP, I actually wanted to be a student of Silvio Savarese, but he didn't want to be. I think he was moving to Stanford or something like that. So I ended up with Honglad, which later on I found out is the author of the paper that I was reading. But yeah, and so then during my application for PhD programs, I made the mistake of only applying to 4 programs, and the only program that gave me a shot was University of Michigan. And actually, and the only reason I even got into the program, I'm 100% sure it was because of Honglak, because at least we had communications during this, and he told me that the committee was not sure about my case because my PhD was not stellar. My what is it? I forgot the test, GRE or whatever, also was not stellar. So why should they let me in the program? but Hong Lag vouched for me. So he saw that I worked hard, and he saw how much I had grown since I started my journey, and he saw that I could grow more, even though I wasn't at the top of the top students. He saw my, I guess, the potential, and I also wasn't gonna let him down. So I did my best during my PhD. So yeah, at first, the first 3 years of my PhD were a struggle. So they were actually, yeah, I didn't have any papers. I was doubting whether I should continue the PhD, and I applied to the NSF GRFP or whatever scholarship. Forgot if this is the right acronym, but I applied 3 times, didn't get it. I'm still bitter about that, but it's fine. Yeah, and then the next 2 years, I actually published 8 papers. Uh, During my first year, I actually was lucky that they put me in a project that ended up getting oral paper at CVPR, but I feel like it was not my, like, something that I was the one who started it. It was just that I helped, or even my interests were not really aligned for that. But then I got 8 papers after that. One of them was oral paper, which is the one where this lady is dancing here. And yeah, and 5 were 4 first author and 5 collaborations. And yeah, and CVPR oral paper. And yeah, and so I had 2 CVPR orals and everything else regular papers, and it was all NeurIPS, ICML, CVPR, ECCB, and iClear papers. And here's GIFs of images of every single one of them. Yeah, and this again, it was once after the first struggle of 3 years, I figured out the way to work to get these things happen. Then, yeah, during my time at the University of Michigan, I was also lucky to intern in multiple places. So I interned at NVIDIA, I interned at Google, I interned at Adobe. I interned at Google Brain, yeah, and all my internships were at Brain. And most of the papers that I had showed before are while working at Brain or Adobe. There's another one that is actually a patent from NVIDIA, but at least it's just a patent. It wasn't a paper. And it was great. Again, hard work paying off somehow. And then, yeah, I graduated in 2019. I presented my thesis, which actually I'm not a big fan of my thesis, but that's okay, because there were a bunch of different works that I had to kind of entangle together. Because now looking at it from today, to me my thesis doesn't make any sense. So if anybody is going to get into research, make sure that the papers that you do are from a big, like, high level topic, so that it makes sense. You can probably win awards or something. But yeah, my thesis, I got a lot of papers, but it was kind of all over the place. But yeah, I graduated, and here's my advisor and my committee. And yeah, that was not the end, because to me that the PhD, I mean, this is just my philosophy, but if I'm gonna start it, it's a given that I'm gonna get it. It's just how good I do during the time I'm there. So to me, it was just like another stepping stone. And yeah, and then because I was lucky to be in the academic tree, family tree of Andrew Ng. So Andrew Ng was my advisor's mentor or PhD advisor, and then my advisor was, I guess, my advisor. And beyond that, I'm in the academic tree of Dr. Shah. Even though I wasn't his PhD student, he was actually the one that gave me that push and the help that I needed, because he risked during the RAU, he risked putting me in that 12 group of people instead of some superstar. But yeah, he's a big part of this whole thing. Yeah, and then after I graduated, I went to I had Adobe Research, where I had, I think, 6 papers, maybe 7, yeah, and a few patents. So previously I did a bunch of video prediction, as you can see here, a bunch of frame prediction works. Maybe if you see my profile, but to me that was again, I'm not a big fan of my thesis, so it was all, in my opinion, garbage. because it wasn't really solving the problem, and I kind of gave up because it was seemed to be a very difficult problem, and I went on to doing more graphics things, which is this lady dancing here, which seemed to be more promising. When I joined Adobe, I did more graphics, and I got another paper where this guy sends in a Macarena on motion retargeting, similar to the lady before, but this is more, it's better. And then I have a bunch of other papers and collaborations with Stanford, Max Planck Institute, University of Michigan, and others. And I also shipped something in the Adobe Aero app. It wasn't a paper, but I shipped a character controller that uses a neural network. Yeah, and after that, more recently, so after looking at the video, so we saw this kind of craze of this DALI text to image generation models from OpenAI, and so my previous collaborator actually contacted me, who's now a manager, and asked me to join him to see if we can do the same thing with video. So I left Adobe for this project to see if we could do video generation from text, but long video generation. I mean, if that was not the goal, but we achieved it. But anyways, so yeah. So I left Adobe, and we ended up actually exceeding our expectations on this, and that's why Sundar posted about our work. So we can actually generate really long videos that they're virtually endless. If you keep inputting prompts, the video continues. Instead of we aim for 5 seconds, but we have generated minutes of videos. And the best part out of all of this is the video generation that me and a bunch of other people thought to be impossible is actually possible, which is, again, it's just all a buildup of a bunch of different things and hard work from before, but this is possible now. And another thing that I'm very proud of is that our work is in the 2-minute papers, which that was a goal of mine. So we are there, and they call it the next DALI because we're actually doing long video generation, and it's just the cusp of a revolution, he says. But yeah, and here's the paper, one of the videos where we have a huge paragraph of things, and then all those things that we describe in the paragraph happen in the video, and this continues generating and continues and transitions between different scenes and different characters that we tell the model to generate. This full video is completely generated from text into pixels. There's nothing in the middle. There's no 3D rendering. There's no post annotations. There's no segmentation masks. It's just text directly into video. And this is our most recent work, which this work I actually think is not garbage. This is actually really, really, really we were all surprised when we saw this was possible. Everybody in our group, did not believe it was happening, but it happened. Yeah, and what's next for me is to just continue pushing myself beyond whatever limits I think I have and grow in the process. As I've witnessed, freedom from basketball, I was really bad at first, and then really hard work helped me improve. Then basketball ended, and then academics started, and again, hard work, failures, multiple failures along the way, and just keep pushing through the failures and everything else. It just continues giving good results. And yeah, and then finally, I would like to thanks to all my collaborators, my classmates, my mentors, professors, and everyone that helped me get to this point. And I hope I continue bringing something and showing that your help was not in vain. So yeah, thanks.
Very nice thoughts.